You applied weeks ago, maybe a month ago, no rejection email, no interview invite, just silence. And that silence is doing something to your confidence it has no right to do. You start refreshing your inbox. You start wondering whether your CV was even opened. You start assuming the worst. And for a lot of people applying in Germany, that assumption is completely wrong. Today we're breaking down why German hiring timelines are often a bit slower than many international candidates expect, exactly how to respond to the silence without hurting your chances, and how to tell the difference between still processing and an actual no. Welcome back to Tende OS, the job search system and community that helps you search less, organize better, and get hired faster. In challenge number 4, we tackled the language barrier. Today, challenge number 5, why the silence you're experiencing during the job application process may be completely normal, and how to handle it professionally without driving yourself crazy in the process. Let's get into it. First, a reality check. This isn't in your head, and it isn't personal. The typical German hiring process often takes 4 to 6 weeks from application to offer, and in many organizations, that can stretch much longer. A completely normal timeline might look like this. Week 1, application submitted. Week 2 to 3, initial screening and CV review. Week 3 to 5, first interview. Week 4 to 7, additional interviews and assessments. Week 6 to 8, internal approvals and offer discussions. In other words, a lack of response after 10 days may simply mean the process hasn't reached you yet. Why does it take so long? German companies typically optimize for structure and thoroughness rather than speed. That often means multiple interview rounds, sometimes involving separate meetings with different stakeholders. Internal approval chains before any hiring decision can move forward. Works council involvement in many larger organizations. Careful review processes designed to minimize hiring mistakes. Seasonal slowdowns during holidays when key decision makers are away. For international candidates, visa sponsorship or relocation support conversations can take even longer before they decide how to proceed. The important thing to understand is this: a slow process doesn't necessarily indicate a lack of interest. It may simply reflect the way hiring is done. Understanding the culture behind the process helps make sense of the wait. In Germany, a well-considered decision is seen as more valuable than a fast one. Hiring the wrong person is expensive. Replacing them is expensive. Training them is expensive. And in a country with strong worker protections, unwinding a poor hiring decision isn't something companies take lightly. As a result, many organizations prefer to spend additional time validating a candidate. The silence may just mean discussions are still happening. It's an important mindset shift. Instead of interpreting every quiet week as bad news, start viewing it as a normal part of the process. That perspective alone can dramatically reduce the stress of waiting. Now let's talk about how candidates often misread these signals. Here's what usually happens. A candidate applies, 2 weeks pass, nothing arrives, the brain fills in the blanks. Because uncertainty is uncomfortable, we naturally create negative explanations. This leads to 2 common mistakes. Mistake 1, giving up too early. The candidate assumes the role is gone and mentally moves on. Then, 3 weeks later, an interview invitation arrives. The opportunity wasn't dead. The process was simply slow. Mistake 2, over following up. The candidate sends repeated emails asking for updates, then another, then another. This can create the opposite effect. In many German workplaces, excessive follow-up is viewed as impatience rather than enthusiasm. Fair or not, it can raise concerns about professionalism and judgment. The solution isn't to disappear. It's to follow up deliberately. Instead of guessing, use a system. A simple follow-up cadence removes most of the emotional uncertainty from the process. Week 2, first check-in. If 2 weeks have passed with no response, send a brief and professional email. Reference: the position, the date you applied, your continued interest, and a polite request for a timeline update. Keep it short. You're not chasing. You're signaling interest and professionalism. Week 4, second and final follow-up. If there is still no response, send one final, even shorter message. Reiterate your interest and ask for an updated timeline. Then leave it there. Don't push further. After week 4, if you've sent 2 polite follow-ups and still haven't heard back, continue moving forward and prioritizing other opportunities. Could a company still come back later? Absolutely. But your search shouldn't pause. The rest is outside your control. The real power of this cadence is psychological. You have a clear process. Week 2, week 4, then focus on other applications. No guessing. And one final point, always keep the tone warm, respectful, and low pressure. You're requesting an update, not demanding an explanation. One of the best ways to reduce anxiety is learning to recognize real rejection signals, because silence and rejection are not the same thing. German rejections are often softer and more indirect than you'd expect, especially in writing. A few patterns worth knowing. Pattern A. We'll keep your documents in our applicant pool. This is usually a rejection for the current role. Assume the position is no longer active. Pattern B. The position has been filled. That's typically final. It's not an invitation to continue pursuing that particular vacancy. Pattern C. Generic template responses. If the message feels like it could have been sent to hundreds of people, it's not a reflection of your individual strengths. Pattern D. Sudden formality. If communication becomes noticeably generic and distant, it's often an indication that a decision has been made. Learning to recognize these signals prevents two problems. You stop chasing finished roles, and you stop mistaking silence for rejection. The waiting period doesn't have to be wasted time. In fact, the strongest candidates often use it to improve their position. Keep building your German skills, even if progress feels small. Interviewers notice improvement between screening and later rounds. Strengthen your Xing profile. While LinkedIn is growing, Xing still carries significant weight in many German recruitment networks. Review your portfolio, project work, or certifications. If an interview invitation appears tomorrow, you want to be ready immediately. The goal isn't to stay busy for the sake of it. The goal is to be stronger whenever the silence finally ends. The candidates who handle waiting best usually have one thing in common. They're not waiting on just one application. They have several opportunities moving at different stages. That changes everything. It makes it easier to stay objective. The healthiest mindset is simple: apply, track, follow up, move forward, repeat. Momentum is what protects your confidence. So here's the takeaway. Don't let normal German hiring timelines damage your confidence. Use your system. Use a simple follow-up cadence, week 2, week 4. Then move your attention back to opportunities you can still influence. Learn to recognize actual rejection language when it appears. And remember that silence by itself is not a decision. Inside Tende OS, we help you track every application, every follow-up date, and every hiring stage, so you're never left wondering whether today is the day or just another ordinary week. That's challenge number 5 done. If this challenge helped, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. We'll uncover one of the most overlooked reasons qualified professionals struggle to gain traction in the German and wider European job market, even when they have the right experience, a strong CV, and a genuine skills match. And if you're joining us partway through the series, make sure you go back and watch the earlier challenges as well. Every episode builds on the last, and together they form a practical roadmap for navigating the German and European job market with more confidence, fewer mistakes, and a much clearer path to getting hired. See you in the next challenge. See you then. Best of luck with your search.